In this video, I'll give you a Performance Max campaign setup tutorial step by step with the latest tips for 2025. After the tutorial section, I'm going to share some important strategies that are working right now in Performance Max that I've learned from making over $150 million in revenue for my clients in Google Ads. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Daryl. I've been running a paid ads agency called Big Flare for over 10 years now, helping businesses to scale profitably with Google Ads. On this channel, I share Google Ads tutorials, strategies, and actionable tips to grow your business. So let's dive into the setup tutorial first, and then hang around till after when I share the top 7 strategies to use when setting up your Performance Max campaign. If you prefer to skip ahead to the 7 strategies, feel free to use the timestamps in the description below this video. Okay, so here we go with the Performance Max setup tutorial first. Alright, so we are here in a Google Ads account, and the first thing you want to do is click the plus button right here to create a new campaign and hit new campaign right there. And you're going to want to choose sales or leads. Sales is normally going to be chosen if you're an e-commerce business. Leads is normally going to be chosen for most other people. But you definitely do want to go with one of these two, as these two are the ones that are sort of conversion focused for your website. So I'm going to do a sales campaign, and I'm going to be setting up an example e-commerce Performance Max campaign here. When you're setting up an e-commerce Performance Max campaign, you want to make sure that the conversion goal down here is purchases. And if you are doing lead gen and you have the leads goal, then you want to make sure the conversion goal down here is people signing up on your lead form, whatever you're tracking as a lead. Assuming that's correct, then click continue. And then campaign type is obviously going to be Performance Max. That's the topic for today. And if you are e-commerce, this is a very important step. You definitely do want to advertise products from a Merchant Center account. You want to make sure your Merchant Center account is set up, your product feed is inside your Merchant Center account. And then assuming that is all set up, you are going to be able to select your product feed down here. So make sure you do that, because that will then, if you're an e-commerce advertiser, this then makes sure PMax is going into shopping ads. And shopping ads is by far the best place for you to be within the PMax options if you're e-commerce. If you're a lead gen, don't worry about that step. It's not going to show up. You don't need to attach a product feed or Merchant Center. In terms of campaign naming, I normally like to start my campaign names with the type of campaign. So I would go PMax. Then I normally do a dash, and then whatever is this campaign. So if this was like an all products campaign, I might do that. I'm actually going to be setting up a dog beds campaign, but yeah, I would still make it an all products campaign. So in this case, PMax, and then dash, and then any kind of descriptor you want to use based on how you're segmenting your campaigns. In this case, I'm just going to assume that I'm setting up a all products campaign and go with that. Let's click continue. Got some drafts in here. If you see that, you can just click start new. You might not see that because you might not have been creating drafts previously. And you want to focus on either conversion value if you're e-commerce, or conversions if you're lead gen. Conversions also works fine for e-commerce if you don't have variable product prices. If you've only got one product and it's $100 and that's the only product you have, or you've got 10 products and they're all $100, then it doesn't really matter whether you choose conversions or conversion value. But for everyone else, most e-commerce businesses will have products at different price ranges. So for you guys, you want to choose conversion value, not conversions. And then for lead gen, you want to choose conversions, not conversion value. And you want to leave this blank. Don't set a target at this stage. You also want to leave this blank. Optimize campaign for acquiring new customers. That's a bit more of an advanced strategy, and we will get into that more in more videos on my channel this year. So feel free to subscribe if you want to see when those come out. I have talked about customer acquisition in the past as well, but I do want to do some updates. So those will be coming out this year. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and you want to know when those come out. Okay, campaign settings, United States and Canada. Make sure you're selecting the correct location. Obviously, you want to be targeting the correct language down here. It will normally auto-select English for you. Asset optimization. This is an interesting one because I'd recommend different things depending on what stage of Google Ads you are actually at right now. If you have a mature Google Ads account, if you've got loads of conversions in there, maybe you've got a few hundred or a few thousands of conversions over time in your Google Ads account, then I think it's okay to leave this stuff on. So this is text expansion and this is video enhancement. Text expansion, what it's going to do, or text customization is what it's going to do Now, I'm going to tell you to write your own text ad creative anyway. So most of the time, the campaign is going to be using that text creative that you generated, which is usually going to be better than the auto-generated stuff from Google. However, what this button does is, if the system detects an opportunity where a customized version of this text or its own AI created version of some ad text could perform better than what you have, maybe what you have isn't quite relevant enough to the particular search query that happened, in those cases, then the system can generate customized text on its own to fill the gap and improve your overall results. So I think this is good if you've got plenty of conversion data in your account, because then Google's kind of already learned and got a good idea what works for you. If you're totally new here, if this is like the first campaign you're setting up in Google Ads and you don't have any previous conversion history in Google Ads, then I would just turn both of these things off. Right? So, and even if you are experienced in Google Ads, I might still turn both of these off. So if you are not experienced in Google Ads and 0 conversions, definitely turn off. If you are experienced in Google Ads, got hundreds of thousands of conversions, optional. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. You can even run a split test to see if it's helping. And I think overall it does help most of the time. So if you've got good conversion volume, then you can leave that on. I'm just going to tick it off. Let's pretend like we're setting up in a fresh account with no conversion volume. And then video enhancement, I would just normally leave on. It doesn't hurt. It just kind of enhances the videos that you attach if you attach any. In terms of more settings, you can add a brand exclusion here if you want to. But if you add a brand exclusion, I highly recommend you have separate campaigns that are targeting your brand, because overall targeting your own branded keywords is very incremental, especially in shopping ads. So if you are going to exclude your brand here, that is fine. That's totally fine if you want to make sure this is a non-branded campaign. And this is a bit more of an advanced strategy. If you are completely new to Google Ads, I recommend you don't do a brand exclusion, and just remember that your Performance Max campaign will be including some brand traffic. If you're a bit more advanced and you want to segment out your brand, you can exclude your brand here. Just make sure to, especially for shopping, make sure to have a separate campaign that is targeting your brand, because otherwise you could potentially miss out on sales that you would otherwise not have gotten, right? So that's the option on brand exclusion. You don't need to do much else with the rest of these options here. Let's click next. Asset generation, you can type in your URL here. So I'm going to be generating this as if I am this advertiser here. I'm going to be making ads for this product. So you can type in your URL. And then Google will actually try and autofill this stuff for you, but you can answer these questions here to give Google a better idea of what you're all about. And then you can click here to generate assets. And I do recommend that every asset that gets generated, you check manually and tweak as needed, because some of the stuff could be bad or wrong. But I'm just going to skip asset generation. I'm just going to go to the asset group and start putting in my creative stuff. Asset group name, you want to name after whatever is your structure. So for example, for e-commerce, I might do a asset group structure of one product category per asset group. So in that case, this might be my dog bed product category, or it might be my dog's product category. Let's say it's my dog bed product category. Maybe I have another product category for cat beds, and then afterwards I'm going to go and set up my asset group for cat beds. So asset group goes alongside whatever is your asset group segmentation strategy. If you're a service business, you might do one asset per service line, or one asset group per whatever type of lead you're generating, right? So like in my business, we do Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. So I might have one asset group for each of those: Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, right? So one asset group per product category, or one asset group per service category, whatever works for you and your business. Listing groups. So here you'll see your Merchant Center account and product feed is attached. And then you want to, if you're doing a specific category, this is for e-commerce only, by the way. If you're doing a specific category, then you want to click the pencil button there and then use a selection of products, and make sure that the selection of products you have in here matches whatever is your asset group segmentation up here, right? If you've just got an all products asset group, then down here you wouldn't limit your products, you just do all products. Okay, so now we can do some brand guidelines if we want to. Binky Barker So if you want to specify exactly how your brand looks, this is where the brand guidelines come in. So business name, you put it in there. And then logos, you can add up to 5 logos. I do recommend that you add logos in a few different aspect ratios as well. So let's add that there. And then assets, this is where we get to the fun stuff. This is where we are going to be adding in all our headlines and descriptions and all that fun stuff. So headlines, you can go up to 15. And for PMax specifically, I do recommend going up to the full 15 and using a wide variety of headlines. Give Google lots of options when it comes to PMax because it needs to be able to test a lot of different keywords and options and placements within the network. Now with your headlines, here's one I did up earlier just to give you an idea of how I recommend doing the normal headlines, the 30 character headlines. So these main headlines are the most important part of this assets sheet that you've got here. The long headlines and descriptions and everything else is less important. These normal headlines are the most important. And here's how I would normally divide up my headlines. I would normally try to have about 3 keyword relevance headlines is what I call them. So these are going to be headlines that try to feature the keywords that people are searching for when they're looking for my product. I would also try to have at least 3 USP feature or benefit headlines, 3 call to action headlines, 3 brand headlines, which is where you put in a headline that features your brand name, and then 3 headlines that are flex. So this is where you can pick and choose any kind of headline and just fill it up with flexible options to help you get up to the full 15. And then for long headlines, you get up to 5 of these. Long headlines and descriptions, you get 5. Each of them are 90 characters long. And the principles that I recommend here are the same across both long headlines and descriptions. One thing to note is that long headlines and descriptions have a much lower level of impact on your overall performance. Normal headlines, the 30 character ones, have a much larger impact versus long headlines and descriptions. So definitely spend more time thinking about and crafting your normal headlines. When it comes to your long headlines and your descriptions, you have to stay under 90 characters, and I recommend thinking about these things. Try to include some benefits and features, some USPs, some social proof, a call to action, numbers and details, and specific proofs there where you can manage it, and then urgency or exclusivity where you can manage it as well. So here are some headlines that I created based on this thinking, and here are some descriptions I created based on this thinking, and I'm just going to go and fill these out in my ad here, including my headlines, and we'll skip ahead to when I've done it. Okay, so there you have it. I've added in my headlines, long headlines, and descriptions. And now you can add in up to 20 images, so I do recommend you just add in as many images as you can, and you want to add in a variety of aspect ratios. So you want to add in some horizontal landscape images, you want to add in some square images, some portrait images as well. So try and get in a variety here and make sure to add in the aspect ratios, a variety of aspect ratios, right? Those square, landscape, and portrait. Let's get some good ones there. Obviously, when you do this, you're going to take a bit more time to make sure that the images that you've added are very high quality. So add in up to 20 images. And then for videos, here's one thing to know about videos is that if you don't add videos, Google just kind of auto creates videos and adds them for you. So it is better if you have some videos to add them to stop Google auto creating some videos which can perform a bit badly if you let Google do that. And then there are all these other asset types down here. So let me just tell you which of these asset types that are really important and that you should always add, and which of them are less important. So always add site links, always add as many site links as you can. Try to go all the way up to the full 20 site links by finding different pages on your site, adding them as a site link, creating some keyword-rich descriptive text to add as the headline and description of those site links. And yeah, go up to 20 site links, the more the merrier. Call to action, you can just leave on automated. There is no reason not to do that. Promotions, always add these if you actually have a promotion running on your site. This is where if you're running a sale or a discount or any kind of promotion, add it as a promotion here. So if you're running one right now, add it as a promotion as you're setting this up. In future, if you're ever going to launch a promotion, remember to come back into the settings of your Performance Max campaign and add it as a promotion asset type there. Prices, you always want to add price extensions if you are e-commerce or if you're a service or lead gen advertiser that does show their prices on their website. There's no disadvantage to adding price assets, and it just makes your ad a bit bigger on the page, which increases your CTR. So all of these assets, just add as many of them as you can if this asset type is available to you, because the more assets you add, the bigger your ad becomes on the page, which means it gets a higher CTR. The more of the page you cover, the higher your CTR. So that's why you just generally want to add as many assets as you can. Calls, this is not essential. A lot of e-commerce businesses won't want to add call assets. Only add call assets if you actually want people ringing the phone from your ads and you want to be paying for ads that are getting you phone calls, right? So if you are lead gen and you're looking for phone leads, do add calls. Add your phone number so that people can call you. For anyone who doesn't want to be getting calls from their ads, then don't add that. Messages, not really that useful. Call outs, always add. Everyone should add call outs. Again, like site links, add the full 20 call outs. The more, the merrier. Structured snippets, almost everyone can add structured snippets. So let's just have a quick look here. So you just want to find, like, these are the options you can have for structured snippets. So look through here and just try and find something that you can add as a structured snippet. Like, for example, most advertisers can find something to put under types, right? So we could say types, and we could have dog beds, we could have cat beds, and we could have dog leashes. And then you see what happens there. Types, there's my structured snippet. And it's just showing up on the ad, and you can see here, like, because of this structured snippet, the ad is now slightly bigger. See, now it's pushed down, like, and we could add some more, right? Like, say, okay, dog pens, and then let's say, pet food. So you see, it increases the size of your overall ad, and you see in this case, it's actually added a whole extra line there. So now my ad is just one line wider, right? And then that actually increases your CTR. So that's why you generally want to add as many assets as you can, anything that is available to you. Let's save that. Lead forms, locations. Locations add if you have physical retail locations that you want people walking into. Lead forms, I don't normally recommend using these. It normally works a lot better to just send them to a lead form on your website if leads is something you're trying to get out of your PMax campaign. Not much for you to do under more options, but what you can do under display path is just do a bit of keyword stuffing. Doesn't hurt. You can do this. You can put like relevant keywords into display path just to increase the relevance of your ad. Signals, so search themes. I'm going to talk a lot about search themes in the following section of this video where I talk about strategies. So for now, let's just briefly add in search themes where we tell the system what keywords are important to us. There you go. Audience signals. Again, I'm going to talk about this in the next section of this video. After this tutorial, we're going to do 7 big strategies, and I'm going to talk about audience signals a bit there. But let's talk right now very quickly about what audience signals you should add. So your data, this is people who have been to your website. Now, normally when I'm in here, I would see a bunch of retargeting audiences, and I would have been able to have created those retargeting audiences previously. I just realized this is a fairly new account that we're in, and the retargeting audiences in this new account haven't actually fully populated yet. So in this particular account, I'm not able to add in the retargeting audiences, but normally you'd be able to browse for your retargeting audiences. You'd see them there, you can add them on. Or another thing you could do is click new segments and come to website visitors and create retargeting audiences to add as an audience signal. You can see here in this account, it's a fairly new account that we recently launched just last month. So this segment will be available soon, and we just need to collect more data in this account first. Other audiences that you want to add are interests and detailed demographics. So in terms of interests, I recommend going after in-markets and affinity, and you can find them if you browse here. So under in-markets, you want to find everything that is relevant to you, And then same again under affinity, you want to find everything that is relevant to you in here and then add those affinity audiences. You can also search here for relevant audiences. So live events, we don't really want those, but like things like in-market audiences that are within my niche, those are things I want to add. And then hopefully we've got some, and then affinity audiences that are within my niche, we want to add those as well. In addition to interest and in-market audiences, you also likely want to add some custom segments. So let's say we do a custom segment for dog supplies, and we target anyone who has a custom interest for anything to do with dog supplies, right? And then you put in your initial keywords, and Google can then suggest you a bunch of other stuff. And what I recommend doing here is adding in your most important keywords, keywords that are relevant to what you have or relevant to your overall niche. So I'm just going to add these quickly just to give you an idea, and then click save there to save your custom segment, your custom interest. And then see there you've got a custom interest created. And what you can do is add multiple custom interests, and let's do that again. So let's say we did dog supplies before, let's do dog beds. And we'll do dog beds here, interests or purchase intention. So let's do the original dog beds, and then add in a bunch of keywords that are on the same theme. So what I did there was I created dog supplies custom interest, and I added keywords that were within that theme. Same again for dog beds, I created this theme and then added keywords that are within that theme. These are custom interests, and what I would do is add 3 to 5 different custom interests, different themes based on what you're selling, in addition to the in-markets and affinities as well. So just doing this quickly as an example. So you add in 3 to 5 in-markets, 3 to 5 affinities. Okay, there we go. So in-markets, custom interests, affinities, 3 to 5 of each of those. And then a bunch of retargeting audiences, add those in as well. Additional signals, you don't really need to mess around with demographics at this stage. And you can, if you want to, add a name for this audience so that it's easier to refer to later on. And when you're done with that, click over to next. And then we have our budget, and I would just go for a set custom daily budget. And in discovery mode, you want to have in mind what is your monthly budget, and then just divide it by 30 to get to your daily budget. So let's say in this campaign I was planning to spend $3,000 per month, so put in a $100 daily budget. Overall, you should try to be fairly conservative with your monthly and daily budgets in PMax at the beginning, and then scale it up as you're getting good results. So for me, in this particular example account, maybe $100 per day would be conservative, but this number is different for everyone. Some people, $1,000 a day might be conservative, and for some people, $10 a day might be conservative. So do a conservative daily budget based on what is true and relevant for you and your business and your cash flow reserves. Okay. Now we're going to be checking for errors. Let's check for errors, and now we can just check over all the details, and assuming we are happy with all those details, we can publish the campaign. Now that we've covered the Performance Max setup tutorial process, let's dive into a few specific strategies you can use to help ensure success with your new Performance Max campaign. For your conversion tracking, you have 2 main choices in Google Ads. You can either import conversions from Google Analytics, or you can install and use the Google Ads website conversion tag. I highly recommend the latter. The reason for this is because Performance Max is more effective the more conversions you track, and due to differences in how attribution works. If you use the Google website conversion tag, you will track more conversions in Google Ads than when you import conversions from Google Analytics. So if you haven't already, then make sure to install the Google Ads website conversion tag and set it as the primary conversion goal in your account. It's okay to also be importing your Google Analytics conversions, but just make sure to set those to secondary so that you don't end up double counting your conversions. When you run your Performance Max campaign, you need to decide whether to optimize for conversions or conversion value. And then after that, whether or not to use a target cost per conversion, CPA, or target return on ad spend, ROAS. E-commerce advertisers should use maximize conversion value, and lead gen advertisers should use maximize conversions. But whichever type of advertiser you are, if you are launching a brand new Performance Max campaign in a Google Ads account that does not already have a lot of conversions, I recommend that you do not set a target CPA or target ROAS at the beginning. Instead, leave the target box unticked and let the campaign spend without a target. Doing this ensures the campaign can test widely to figure out what works for you. You can set a target later, and I will talk about that next. But during this initial part of the campaign, when you are running without a target, you should know that you can still control the performance by modifying the budget. For example, if you want the ROAS or CPA to improve, then you can lower the daily budget. This forces Google to spend less per click, which improves your ROAS by making it go up, or improves your CPA by making it go down. Alternatively, if you already have a highly profitable ROAS or CPA, and you want to spend more and don't mind the ROAS or CPA getting a bit worse, then you can increase the daily budget. This will make Google spend more per click, which does make your ROAS or CPA performance get a bit worse, but comes with the benefit of getting you more clicks and conversions and sales. When you get to around 50 or more conversions in your campaign, this is when you can typically safely add a target ROAS or CPA to your campaign. When this time comes, I recommend setting a target ROAS or CPA that is the same as or just a little bit better than your previous historic performance over the past 30 days. If you try and set a ROAS target or a CPA target that is loads better than the current performance, you might cause the campaign spends to drop a lot. It's better to set a target that is close to the current performance level, and if you need to make the ROAS or CPA better, then nudge the target in the direction you want it to go by making adjustments to the target of not more than around 25% every 2 weeks. Audience signals help guide Google's machine learning in the right direction. Upload your customer lists, use remarketing audiences, and include in-market and affinity audiences relevant to your business. Think of audience signals as suggestions to help Google find the right people faster. While it's not mandatory to use these, they can speed up the optimization process significantly. Hey guys, before I move on to the next strategy about search themes, I wanted to let you know that if you are an e-commerce store owner looking to truly master Performance Max and Google Ads, you might like my free video course on e-commerce Google Ads. It is linked in the description below this video. Simply click the link in the description below to grab free access to the course and start growing your store revenue with Google Ads today. All right, let's get back to the strategies and on to the next tip for you. To use search themes most effectively, there are a few things you need to know. First of all, bear in mind that there is a 25 theme limit on your search themes, so use them wisely. Also note that Google is pretty good at understanding the intent and meaning behind keywords these days. So with both of those things in mind, you want to make sure to avoid repetition, not just in the words you use for your search themes, but also in the meaning behind those words. For example, if you already have the search theme cell phone, then there is no point in adding a search theme for mobile phone as well. Google already understands that these two things are the same thing, and if you add both of those keywords as search themes, you just used up one of your 25 themes needlessly. Another thing to note is Google's keyword prioritization system. Often these days, we might want to run Performance Max in addition to other campaigns such as search. And often the goal of Performance Max in this scenario is to see if it can find additional traffic that wasn't covered in our search campaigns. If you add a keyword in exact match to your search campaign, then the search campaign will always get prioritized, no issues there. But if you have a keyword in your search campaign only in phrase or broad match, this is where it gets a bit tricky with search themes. If your keyword in your search campaign is phrase or broad match, and then you add the keyword as a search theme in Performance Max, your search campaign might no longer get the traffic for that keyword. Performance Max might start taking the traffic for that keyword, even though you had it in search in broad or phrase match. So the thing to know here is that if you want to make sure a certain search keyword goes into your search campaign, not your Performance Max campaign, it's better to not add it as a search theme. As a simple rule of thumb for you to stick to, I would just say this. If you have a search campaign running in addition to your Performance Max campaign, then do not use search themes in Performance Max at all. Instead, for your most important keywords, make sure to have them in your search campaign as keywords. It's better to have them going into your search campaign because in search you can get better performance out of them because of the extra control and insights you get around quality score, ad group structure, and ad copy. On the other hand, if you do not have a separate search campaign running in addition to your Performance Max campaign, then do add all your 25 most important keywords as search themes. Make sure to avoid repetition in the meaning of your search themes, and also, if and when you do launch a separate search campaign, make sure to delete those search themes and instead add them as keywords in search. Once you have implemented a target ROAS or CPA, do not make constant tweaks to the target. The system automatically optimizes towards the goal of hitting your ROAS or CPA target on a 30-day average. Some days or weeks, performance may go up, some days it may go down. This is natural and unavoidable. So if you see performance is down on a given day or week, do not sweat it. Don't make daily changes to your targets thinking that this will help. It won't, and it will actually hurt things. Between each change of target, you want to wait ideally for more than 50 conversions. You want to look at the average performance over those past 50 plus conversions to guide you. Do not look at the daily ROAS or CPA to make judgments off of when it comes to setting your targets. Performance Max allows you to upload multiple assets, such as headlines, images, and videos. After a few weeks of running your campaign, Google will begin grading these assets as low, good, or best performers based on their impact on your campaign's success. This feedback is great for refining your creatives. Make it a habit to review this performance data regularly. If an asset is marked as low performance, swap it out with a fresh headline, image, or video that aligns more closely with your audience's preferences. On the other hand, double down on best performers by creating similar variations to further optimize results. Consistently improving your assets in this way can lead to sustained growth in your campaign's performance. And that covers it for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Now, once you have launched your Performance Max campaign, it's important to run the right optimizations to make sure it works as well as it can. So check out this video up here where I show you the most important optimizations to run in Performance Max on a regular basis. In this video, I will show you a bunch of PMax optimizations you probably never heard of before that will grow your Google Ads campaign. I hope to see you over there on the next one, guys. Have a good one.